name is Adele Villemez, and I have been a member of this church for about 7 years now. My daughter, Adele, has grown up in this church. She was one of the children's story readers the first year we started having kids read. Some of you may not know or may not remember that Adele had a pretty severe speech impediment when she was younger. The first story she read, I suspect no one could understand her but me. Even so, this congregation gave her nothing but support and praise. My daughter worked hard to improve her speech. She worked with 2 different speech therapists, and she practiced at home for years, and through it all, she kept reading stories at church services. She got better and better until the only sound she still had trouble with was R. That one was so hard for her, I sometimes despaired of her ever getting it. She would get frustrated too, and there were even tears on more than one occasion, from her as well as me. But finally, she conquered even that sound. I think I have stashed somewhere the official paperwork saying she no longer needed special support for her speech, but that paper is not really important. The day I knew she had truly accomplished her goal was a Sunday she read a story here in church. Tracy had sent the story out in advance, and I printed it so Adele could practice it the way I always did. It was a cute little story about a family of ducks. Like many children's stories, this one had lots of repetition. The first time I read the story, it seemed to me to consist entirely of Rufus, Rory, Rosie, and Rebecca ate. Rufus, Rory, Rosie, and Rebecca swam. Rufus, Rory, Rosie, and Rebecca grew. Over and over again. Tracy was more than willing to adapt the story if we wanted, but I checked with Adele, and she said she could do it. She practiced, and on Sunday she read the story beautifully with perfect pronunciation on every line. My heart swelled with pride for her. I thought, it does not get any better than this. And then it did. After we had sung the children to their classes, Mark came up to the pulpit. Before moving on to the next item in the order of service, he said that he knew there were lots of visitors there that day, and he wanted them to understand how much of a triumph reading that story was for Adele. I was so touched that he would take the time to do that. I know that my daughter's victories are also my victories because she is my child. Mark's words that day let me know that my daughter's victories are also this church's victories because she is a child of this church. I think back to the day Adele was dedicated here. My husband, Rod, and I promised to love and raise our daughter, and the congregation promised to support us in that task and never to close their hearts to her. That ceremony was so powerful, even my husband was moved by it. Rod is not a member of this church and is, well, kind of hostile to religion in general. Recently, Rod was looking over our accounts in Quicken and saw the monthly check made out to First Unitarian Church. "You certainly give a lot of money to that church," he commented. I replied, "But think of everything we get from the church." I talked about the concrete things I knew he could appreciate. I mentioned the wonderful RE classes, including the OWL class Adele's in right now, learning things that will help her be happy and healthy and responsible in all areas of her life, now and as she gets older. I talked about UU Children's Theater and all the opportunities that program had given her. I may even have said, and I kind of enjoy going to services every week. Rod said something like, "Yeah, okay," accepting what I was saying. I was glad Rod understood why I need to give to the church, but I was actually a tiny bit surprised at how easy it was to convince him. After all, Rod has not taken Adele to this church week after week, year after year. He has not seen her form relationships with many different people, from the littlest ones in our community when she helps out in the preschool room to the oldest members of our congregation. He does not watch Adele here at church and marvel at how happy and comfortable she is here. If Rod was able to justify to himself the amount I give to the church just based on my reminder of a few of the practical benefits, geez, maybe I'm not giving enough.